Oh boy, what have I done? Hey, welcome back. Today we're back in Bavaria, more specifically downstairs in the workshop, where I'm supposed to be working on the R34 over fenders. But something happened this week that I did not expect. I wasn't even looking, I wasn't even thinking about it. Let's start from the beginning. Tom has been looking for a nicer car he can daily for a while now. Well, another one. So he's been texting me cars in the classifieds for months now. We're talking cheap Maseratis, cheap Ferraris, and the occasional A90 Supra. So he came across a pair of Porsches that he asked me to check out while I was in Bavaria again. So that's what I did. The story behind this car is rather special. Turns out this car belongs to a very wealthy man that has a car gallery in Ingolstadt and owns several businesses and also competed in races in the likes of DTM. He told us about his extensive car collection, and the things you can see here are just a tiny fraction of what he owns. He told us he actually forgot he had these two 964s. That's right, he forgot he had them. We got there and they literally just threw us the keys and told us to go check the car out ourselves in his underground garage. Again, so that's what we did. So, we're on the way to check this one out. We were told that the two Porsche have been standing for about 5 years untouched and that they moved them to the gallery's garage to be sold just recently. We were mostly interested in just one though. Oh, that's nice as well. But we're here for this one. This is a 1990 Porsche 964 Carrera 4 right-hand drive. As you can tell right away, it has some very obvious flaws. It has scuffs on the front as well as the rear bumper. The paint is badly faded and I believe the rear right quarter panel has been painted at one point or another. At that point, things like broken blinkers and the valve covers leaking oil should be no surprise either. The underbody has quite some rust and the interior smells like and will have to be replaced almost entirely. But one thing they told me was that the engine is in good running condition. So we pulled out the car to have a more extensive look at everything. Right now I should also mention I know next to nothing about these. Neither did I know that the C4 was all-wheel drive, nor what displacement it even had. That's how much I'm into Skylines normally. Let me just illustrate how much of nothing I know about these. It took me almost a solid minute to figure out how to open the boot lid, which my wife enjoyed very much. In my defense, I was overly excited for this. After having spent over an hour with just looking at everything on the car, it was time to park it again, cover it back up, and drive home to deliberate. You see, this is where the story took a turn. I spoke to my brother about how much work this car will really need in order for him to daily it. And at the same time I was already negotiating with the owner regarding the price. In the end, my brother decided that he wouldn't have the time to get the car into the shape that he'd like it to be in if he wants to drive this daily. which I can understand because his work is very demanding at the moment and he has barely any time for his family as is. However, by that time I had negotiated more than a quarter of the initial price the owner wanted to have for the car. And honestly, I don't think he actually cared much for how much he was actually selling it for, as long as someone came along and took the car for himself and made it properly run again. The price was just so good that I couldn't pass it up. We're about to pick up the Porsche now, but the weather's awful. This is not going to be fun. As you can imagine how the story goes, I came to an agreement with the owner and 2 days later we were on the way to pick it up. Unfortunately, it was raining heavily and after paying up, we've gone for lunch instead of driving it home right away. It was a nice Bavarian meal. Luckily, the weather turned a tiny bit better and the owner was nice enough to give us his red plates, which in Germany are used by dealers to transport cars around and us regular folks don't have access to. His mechanic drove the car out front and gave us some last instructions and off we went. We quickly stopped around the corner for some gas and started our journey home. Truth be told, I was super nervous about everything. Oil leaks, old tires, shitty brakes, but it was damn fun to drive. This is actually terrifying, but amazing! As you can see, I was very ill prepared for filming this and I was very preoccupied with surviving the drive home. I apologize. Oh nein, meine Kamera ist komplett umgefallen beim ersten Bremsen. There's noises coming from this car, which I cannot identify. Still, I can already tell by looking at forums and such that I ain't gonna be a typical 964 owner. For one, I'm not rich. For a regular lifestyle and given the position I'm in life right now, this wasn't the most sensible decision. I'm a student and I have plenty of work on the side going on, which means I clearly should not have bought this car. However, this was way too good of a deal to pass up and I'm gonna do everything I can do to restore this car. The brake pedal keeps on getting stuck and I have to pull it back with my left foot. I'm not planning on selling this car at all if I don't have to. Everything I do on this car will be for myself and the way I like doing things. My plan for the 964 is that I'll DIY the hell out of this and hope to learn a bunch of things along the way. And obviously record everything from start to finish. I'm not a purist and I don't feel anything whatsoever regarding the car's heritage. The most I feel about the 964 is coming from Vangan Midnight's Blackbird. That's where this comes from. We finally arrived at home at the in-laws and put the car into the garage to find right away how bad the oil leak really was. We'll get into that in the coming videos. In fact, in the next video we'll go over everything the car needs to be done and some of my plans. Only thing left to do was bring in the plates back and start my research. If you're following me on social media, you will have seen already that I posted about this purchase. And I've had already a solid amount of guys going like, what the hell am I doing? I still am a 90s JDM turbo generation guy, through and through. You won't believe how much JDM I can cram into this car. And I mean, apart from that, I don't even like Porsches. But, in my opinion, the 964 is the most beautiful car to ever come out of Germany. Period.